hello there, Sir from 17 once again. This is my wonderful 101, 101% hard I think it's called, video walkthrough. Mount, it's Operation 5B, same title as before, that crazy Ogretoe, Lowrule place. But a lot of interesting traversal moments in this part. I do enjoy it. One thing I don't know if I've mentioned too much in the previous parts of this walkthrough, but I think one of the things that this game suffers from is the levels' lengths. I think this game would have benefited from shorter levels, more compactly done. Very reminiscent of God Hand, where some levels can last, 20 minutes, other levels will last 2 minutes, and just a nice back and forth of that, because I think it would have definitely helped the pacing. As it stands, this game can feel, I'm not going to say grueling because it's not the word, but it can be a little bit exhausting when you have levels that range from 20 to an hour long. There's not that many levels in the game, but it makes it feel so much longer than it is because of the way that it's presented. And I'm sure that there's people that are perfectly okay with that, but I definitely noticed like levels lasting, and I can't help but have like a negative connotation with it, even though I wasn't not enjoying myself. I just noticed. But this is one of those weird moments when it goes onto the gamepad where you can't control the camera, you can barely control the movement, and what it wants you to do here is it wants you to draw a bomb and it wants you to freeze the flame, but because I'm on lava, I'm having issue drawing the bomb because it's making people fall and jump away. So I throw the first one, I get past, throw the second one, so on and so forth. It's an interesting thing. I wish it wasn't done the way it is, but it is, There's a part of me that truly does hope that this gets patched to another system and all these moments are just turned into the normal gameplay moments, not needing the second screen and that bullshit. Because I think that this game truly deserves a wider audience as I try to turn this thing, and it's not turning. Well, as I mentioned, folks, you might be wondering what I'm doing. I'm fighting the controls, because these moments, that you need to feel them to just to realise how truly badly they are when it comes to moving in certain aspects of them. Like, I'm sure Platinum did their best to make it as responsive and as intuitive as they could, but there are times when it feels like shit. It really does. I always go back to the one on the first level, before you go into the stadium and you fight the like reptile man. That one, even moving in that one is an effort. Like, straight up bafflingly stupid. It's just really, really weird. But this game is so good. It's such a fun title. Like, I'm really looking forward to getting back into my Wii U games and playing this and playing Bayonetta 2 and, going deeper into them, delving as far as I can with them. But at the moment, I'm in such a fucked up headspace, I just can't. It's just one of those things. I found it hard enough to sit down and do these commentaries today, because I've not done some in a while. Like, I've been super fucking nihilistic and just in a funk, like real blues, just straight up lethargy that's so unhealthy and so uninspiring that it kills desire to do anything. And I hate it because it's a waste of time. It's a waste of energy to feel so crappy, and I hate my body for feeling it, but alas, that's how I was feeling, and I've felt it for a week now, and I've never had this. It's just bullshit. Like, I've got no reason to feel that way, yet I do, and I've literally done nothing but watch films and read books, because it's the only thing I can do, and it's disgusting. Like, I've got this privileged position at this moment in time where I'm able to do things I love that are creative, that are awesome, and I've got people that are supporting that, and I'm just like pissing it into self-loathing. It's so strange. And don't pity me, guys. Don't even feel sorry for me. It's ridiculous. I'm just looking forward to climbing out of whatever this fucking pit of nonsense is, because it does nothing. It's the absence of anything. It's so stupid. And at the moment, I've got some really fun games that I'm playing, and I've got some really fun projects on the channel. Like, I don't know. Oh, this is cool. I'm charging the engine on the rocket so I can go higher to get up the water, because I don't think I'd ever been up here. I think I discovered this on the recording. And if you want to know how to charge the rocket even further, you just have to mash it. So we got some battery power to force us on. That's cool to see. pushing forward. The water's interesting. You know, it keeps trying to take my team away from me, so I have to hold the button to keep my team with me. There's still a lot of stuff on this game I haven't done. Like, I don't have all of the wonderful ones. I don't have all of the upgraded weapons. I don't have all of the heart pieces, as you can tell. A couple of people have showed their distress over their obsessive-compulsive disorder because they like to have both the bars full. I don't have that. I didn't really need it either. I think this difficulty's nowhere near as bad as the first time you run through the game on hard or normal. Because at that point, you just don't understand how to play, and your lack of understanding is going to get you destroyed. As soon as you get over the hump of you know, the learning curve, the harder difficulty is really not so bad. Like, there are certain enemies that you're going to not really like too much, and there are certain enemies that might be your kryptonite and might be something that you get your ass beat by, like this particular creature here. These are very, very tricky enemies, but you'll get used to them. You know, you'll understand them a little better. I like to use the Wonderliner to kill these inside the bomb because it kills them super fast, and I hate how they just evade and they fuck you with the sides. Ukemi, yay! That is my favourite part of this game. That is a mechanic that every game needs. An ability to recover from damage. But it's skill, it's timing based, it is beautiful, dude. It is so beautiful. And Beautiful Joe had it, and I was terrible at it in Beautiful Joe. And Wonderful 101 has it, and I'm not too bad at it in this game. I wonder if Okami has Ukemi. I hope it does. I really need to play that game. I've got it on emulator, but the emulator I was playing it on didn't run it as nicely as I wanted it to, and I've heard that the high definition remake on the PlayStation has shitty frame rate, and I don't want to play that game in a state that's going to make me dislike it when I know that it's a game that I would have loved if I'd played it when it came out. And I wanted to play it when it came out, I just never bought it. I couldn't tell you why. I was following it in the magazines I was buying. You know, I was a big Beautiful Joe fan. I knew it was the people who made Beautiful Joe. There we go, there's the Ukemi. Look at it! Like, the cool thing here is, I've been hit twice, 100% my fault, I've recovered by skillful button presses, and I can still get the best rank in the game. Name another game that you can do that in. You can't. Except for maybe Beautiful Joe. I always appreciated that. But this enemy, oh, interesting. Every so often, I end up drawing that by accident, and I never think it's worth it. It's like the better version of the gun, but it's so shit. And it comes about if you draw the box, if you draw a square. But there's the fist, my favourite of the Unite morphs. There's the uppercut, a couple of jabs in the air. I usually do the cyclone into the stinger, but I didn't do it then. There's the bomb drawn. Here he comes with a standard combo. You cannot block these enemies' combos because their weapons are classed as sharp. You have to dodge them. That's another reason why I think that they're one of the more annoying and dangerous enemies, because they go through your guts. Got no battery at the moment, which is making this a bit tougher than it needs to be. You might wonder why I don't pick the weapons up. The weapons decrease your mobility, and I hate that. Anything that decreases your mobility in a game really frustrates me. It's one of the main reasons why I gave Witcher 3 so much shit. Because every time Geralt pulls his fucking sword out, he literally turns into a geriatric. It's wickedly frustrating. But this is not going so good. But at the same time, look at our life. We still have plenty of life. It's still perfectly fair. Like, it's still a challenge. As I drop a bomb and try and get him as he finishes his drill, but I was on the wrong drill. That did not work. I didn't count it right. But there he goes. Glad that he's dead. Glad that he's gone. What was the rank there? Time was good. Everything was good but damage. Didn't look it though, did it? Like, that looked shit. That looked like a performance I wouldn't have given a bronze to, but yet, there goes Wonderful 101. And this is the hardest difficulty. The scoring in this game is so confusing. And you can do some of the most stylish looking, amazing, multi-unite morph combos where you're using your team to keep them juggled, and you're using the tombstone to come down and the rocket to go up, and then you're juggling them again, and like you do like 3 or 4 jumps in one combo because you're resetting them, and you will get shit score. Yet you do what I just did then, and that's fucking platinum. It baffles me. Oh, by the way, I hate this particular mission. You have to move to the opposite side of the bridge to... It's like a seesaw. And if you don't, you fall in the lava, and it resets the fight. And it's so frustrating, because you can't fight, you can't focus on doing anything cool, because you're too busy trying not to die. I love the little tears. Oh, the touches in this game. It is so wonderful. But that's me writing the platform art, and then I go towards him to try and kill them, and of course it balances the wrong way again. He's going to do a kick after that, so that's why I did the guts. You'll notice that I'm not doing the Unite hero counter. It was one of those things that where I put up a video showing it, and it can be really useful, but there's a lot of times where you time it and it doesn't work. So I don't know if it is actually a mechanic or if it's something that can be used, but it's definitely interesting and worth experimenting with. But these guys go crazy as you kill them, and when they go crazy, a lot of the stuff they do seems to be... Wow, okay me? Nice. I love that move so much. But you see the damage, they do not mess about. Here he comes with the kick. There was the counter. There's the... Are we juggling him? I normally always juggle afterwards. I didn't. Interesting. Maybe I was waiting for my batteries to come back. There's the stinger. Here comes the kick. There's the stun. Into a combo. Juggle. No? No juggle? Shit. It is funny how you play on this difficulty. It's so different to how you would normally play. Because on hard, everything was in the air. Like, I spent more time in the air than I did on the ground, swapping between morphs, doing all kinds of crazy fun stuff, and then you come to this difficulty and you realise you just don't have the batteries for it. This is a miserable fight, though. And it's a shame, too, because these enemies are one of my favourites to kill. So I'm just going to start shooting him. I'm like, fuck you, dude, this is dumb. He gets really mad at me. The cool thing when you shoot them, I don't know if you noticed, is it leaves a wonderful one on them, and they'll beat them up for you, and you can put them into a stunned state as I take a big hit, but I get the Ukemi, and it gives it me back. Love that mechanic. Love it to bits. I love it almost as much as I love the parry mechanic from Third Strike, which I want in a character-driven action game, because I just think it'd be cool. I've been giving a lot of thought to that as well. Like, if I made a game and I put that in, I would have it so that you could unlock sound effects from different games to go to the noise that it makes when you parry, so everybody could have their own favourite noise. So I think that'd be really cool, and like an homage to those other titles. And I'm not too sure if you can copyright a sound effect, because you hear the same sounds in almost every game. Like, can you remember GoldenEye, how it had that reload noise? Not even a word. That reload noise, where it went that was taken from every film every time somebody pointed a gun, and it became the generic noise for gun noises. And it was in everything, fucking Time Splitters, which was, you know, the same company, but all other shooters had it at some point, like that ridiculous reload noise that sounds nothing like reloading a gun. So I'm hoping that they wouldn't have copyrighted it, but there we go. As if. Pure Platinum doesn't make any sense, but there it is. Here's a couple of people to replenish your ranks if you're missing them. There's an opportunity to use the whip to pull down the spikes. And here's a cutscene. So let's skip it and move on. Right, so you remember this dude. We fought him earlier on. Or we fought a version of him earlier on. Now it's going to give us the Wonder Jump instruction. Which, interesting, but, you know, it's a quick time event. I want to know what's going to replace quick time events. What is going to be the new quick time? Because as it stands, don't you think we've had enough of it? Like, it makes me wonder what Shenmue, the new one's going to be like, that's been kickstarted. Because it was one of the progenitors of that technique, and that's pretty much half of the gameplay in that game. And at this moment in time, there's so much fatigue over this mechanic that it makes me wonder, does anybody like it anymore? And there's moments where I'm like, definitely. There's moments where I really love quick time events, but then there are moments when I just really don't. So as you saw, folks, stand on the springboard thing. As soon as you see the shadow moving towards you, run off the opposite side. If done correctly, you'll get him like that. Do not hesitate. He comes down quicker than you would think. But do it 3 times and he's dead. Like, there are moments in games where I think the quick time events really are fun, and they work, and I enjoy them. Moments like Metal Gear Rising, where you do the Zandatsus and you have to cut them. Moments like in God Hand, where they do really interesting animations and really interesting cutscenes that don't overstay their welcome, and they're always welcome because that's a tough game, and they're a nice, you know, relent from the insanity of it. But, like God of War to an extent, some of the cutscenes in that were really, really good, and really well done with the quick time events, but it just gets to the point where they're so ubiquitous now. We need more. We need something that it's more involved. Like, I really liked Legend of Korra for that, because when you parried on that game, it gave you inputs with the analogs, which is something that you don't really see too much, and it was both the analogs, and I really thought it was interesting. But once again, it was never really explored or developed or turned into anything of substance, which I think is a shame, because one of the things that I would really like in a game, for instance, if I was making a character-driven action game that had the RPG stylings of a post-apocalyptic future, may or may not be styled around Vampire Hunter D or Fist of the North Star, I would have a system where after you countered, you'd be able to input commands like something out of Street Fighter. And if your timing on your links was good enough, you could juggle them, you know, with two frame links, 1 frame links kind of stuff. Really, you know, top level play of great timing and great execution that just turns you into an absolute badass that not everybody can do. And sure, there'll be stuff in it that everybody can do that looks great and that makes them feel good and that is kind of effective, but nowhere near the same amount of, you know, just maximizing your ability to play. And I think that would be really, really cool. As I wait for my people to bring the ball, and then the bomb doesn't last long enough and it breaks and I have to do it again, which is a little frustrating. Not the biggest fan of some of the puzzles in this game, but you know, you've got to do it, folks. But with a feature like that, I would like to have a counter system where you can customize what the counter does. It'd be really great that you could have it work the way you wanted it to work. You know, you could focus on it. If you do it successfully, it slows time, or if you do it successfully, it deals massive damage, or if done successfully, it heals you, or it exposes a weakness, or it decreases their armor, you know, some kind of ability to make it play the way you want it to play. And I think that'd be super interesting. And just the ability to customize its utility. Because not everybody wants to have, you know, to wait on an enemy to attack and have really good timing and then reverse their damage against them. Some people want, you know, to do different things. And then you could combine that with a system that enables you to augment how your character works, and you could style something very close to being rather unique to yourself. And it probably wouldn't be that hard to do. Like, I was always ruminating over a mechanic where you could wear a certain piece of equipment where it would double your damage, or triple your damage, but it put your life to nothing. Similar to the red tier stone ring, only all in, like super high level play or you get fucked type of deal. And then I wanted to have some kind of feature that you could customize your taunt, and your taunt did damage, even though it was never meant to be anything too good, but if you wore the right equipment, you could augment the strength of your taunt. And boom, doing all kind of crazy stuff with fancy looking taunts. I always thought it'd be really fun. Like, you could even have, you know, like the concentration bar in the new Devil May Cry. You could have it as the equivalent of the Royal Guard bar, where you do a ton of, you know, perfect blocks against something, you build up this bar, and then when you press taunt, it delivers, you know, an attack that's 100 times stronger than your strongest attack, and then you get all this other equipment to augment it, and you show, you know, perfect understanding and mastery of perfectly blocking these crazy bosses' multi-hit attacks, much like, you know, parrying Chun-Li's super on Third Strike, and then you taunt and you instantly one-shot the boss on the hardest difficulty and, you know, get a super crazy rank and get super good treasure and tons of money to do whatever you need to do. Like, it's just the type of stuff that I look forward to in games, and a lot of the times they have aspects that I really like, but they never develop it as deeply as I would, or as I would like them to. But once you've moved the ball up here, folks, you're going to then take possession of this crazy statue, and if you remember earlier on in the level, there was a gap for a statue that looks a little bit like this one, so we have to go and plug that gap. But of course that would be too easy, so there's going to be some climactic crazy platinum shit happening. Which, there's been some footage of Scalebound shown at the previous conference, I think it was Gamescom. And it's showing that that game is going to be much more of an RPG than I ever thought it would be. And it's taking, you know, the high-level action genre into a direction that I've wanted it to go for a very long time. And if done correctly, it could be to action games, or the character-driven ones anyway, it could be to them what Fallout was to first-person shooters. And it's not going to be to everybody's tastes, but for somebody like myself, I think it's a really, really cool direction to go in. I would just hate to see the action diluted in favour of RPG. Like, if they can get the balance right, that might be one of the best games of this ilk ever made. And I really want it to be, because I think they deserve that kind of measure of success. Like, in my eyes, this is being helmed by the man who made the greatest character-driven action game of all time. And if he can strike gold again, but in something that has the replay value and the scope of a giant RPG, like, that could be really special, like truly, truly special. And I'm really excited to see how it works. And I'm going to cover that in a video, because I've got some footage that I've yet to cover. But as I mentioned earlier on in this or the last one, I've just not been in a very good mood, guys, and I didn't want it to come across in the videos. I didn't really want to talk about it in the videos, because I don't think there's any point, really. Everybody goes through, you know, shitty periods. We all have those days. And what's the point in dwelling on it when I can be focusing on something and maybe improving said move? But sometimes you can't help it, human nature and all that. But that's the reason why I've not been covering those things that a lot of people have been asking for. It's not because I want to deny people, or I get some kind of morbid enjoyment from, you know, from said denial. It just simply stems from a lack of luster within myself, and I'm one of those kind of like creative, passionate people that if I'm not believing in it, I won't do it. Like, I'm kind of all or nothing like that, and I hate it, I really do. But I think it's the price for having those highs that you get those like, just... Like, I started reading a book the other day. I got 4 pages into it and I deleted it on my Kindle. And this was a long book as well. Like, the first page had the dialogue line of, It's cold as hell up above, and down below it's hotter than a hooker's snatch. And I had the most epic facepalm for the longest time that some human being thought that this was some kind of decent dialogue for a military type to start spouting on the first page of his book. It then proceeded to not be very well written. Just, it was uncomfortable to read, and I immediately got rid of it, like, straight up. I'm not even going to stomach this. Even though I have full knowledge, I've read worse books. So it's just that thing. I'm in one of those moods at the moment where, unless it's something that really, really tantalizes me and really, really stokes my, you know, my passion, I'm like, fuck it. Don't want anything to do with it. Burn it, bury it, get rid of it. But this is Wonderful 101. This is a passion project. I do love this game, and this is pretty much a boss, I would say. You've never seen a golem like this, and it has a shit ton of life. But the Wonderliner is stupid good as I turn into a rocket and then into a tombstone. And look at the damage we just did. No damage at all. Watch this. Barely any damage, spinning the biggest sword I can use at the moment to try and hit all the pieces. I'm doing this to build some of the points up for the score, because this enemy, use the big bomb, use the Wonderliner, watch the damage. It is obscene. Completely obscene. And it'll break it up really quick too. So watch this. See that? Look at the damage! Look at the freaking damage! And it's one of those things where the Wonderliner is a single hit, and every time you trail it, all of those 100 dudes that are in it are taking an individual hit, and it's all been multiplied by the size of the bomb. And that's why it does so much damage, and that's why it's so bloody good. But I love that move, I really do. Like, it's the equivalent of this game's high sidekick cancelling. It is some of the fastest damage you can do against an enemy. Only it's much easier to do on this, and it's not stylish, just like sidekicking is. But that's the end of the mission, folks. Use Wonder Blue to open the doorway, the Dante of the group, and then we'll proceed on to the boss fight, which is in the next video, folks. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you're enjoying, and you take care now.